Hello everyone and welcome to video number 7 in the saga of how to attack like the magician. We have a very nice game from the Amsterdam Interzonal tournament. We've already covered one game. Actually, the first game in the saga was Tal versus Tringov, also from the Amsterdam Interzonal tournament of 1964. Here he faces Hungarian Grandmaster Istvan Bilek, who got his Grandmaster title 2 years prior to this matchup, and only a year after, in 1963, he already won the Hungarian championship. He won it in 63, 65, and one more time, so a 3-time Hungarian champion. So obviously a very, very strong player, and they play a line that many people have played against Tal. It's the Najdorf Sicilian, featuring the bishop to g5, so the main line even today. And still we get to have something never seen before, even to them when they played it. So yeah, let's check it out. And it's interesting that Tal's mentor Alexander Koblenz says that okay, the pawns in front of the king obviously serve a very, very important purpose. They have to defend their king, but if you advance them, then you create weak squares. And this game is all about weak squares, particularly about this diagonal here, believe it or not. But you'll see what I mean by this. So let's check it out. Tal has the white pieces and he opens with pawn to e4. Alright, we already said that we were going to have a Najdorf Sicilian, d6, d4, captures, we have knight to f6, knight to c3, and pawn to a6. The Najdorf Sicilian is on the board, and I myself tried playing many things against the Najdorf. Currently I'm on the Adams attack. Sometimes I go rook to g1, but I've tried, everything else, and then I play it for like a year, and then I get fed up with it. Bishop to g5 is actually the first move I played against the Najdorf when I first started learning chess, but I don't play it anymore. But watching all of these Tal games, definitely time to revisit some old ideas. So bishop to g5, this is the main line against the Najdorf. Knight b to d7 and bishop to c4. Okay, Tal just going for rapid development, as he usually does, and pawn to h6. Now this is today considered the best reply. It is a book move, but already you can see that it has weakened the g6 square, and once the knight moves from f6, it will also weaken this diagonal significantly, which it's very, very hard to take advantage of unless you are a master at attacking your opponent's king. And Tal already played a very, very similar game, although h6 wasn't played. He already played a game where queen to a5 was played, which was very, very known at the time. Many people played queen to a5 in this position. Particularly Johansson played this against Tal in Stockholm in 1960, and I will show you how the game continued, because it is also quite nice, and you get 2 games for the price of 1. We're not going to analyze it, we're just going to quickly show it, because these are all pretty standard moves. The bishop b7, rook h to e1, bishop to e7 and f4. So this is pretty much what you will always play in the bishop to g5 line against the Najdorf. Knight to c5 goes after the light square bishop, bishop captures, g captures, and king to b1, pawn to b4, and now Tal went for knight to d5. The opponent, of course, did not capture on d5, even though you can, but still white will always be a little bit better. He played knight captures on e4, rook captures on e4, and now bishop captures on d5, and after bishop captures and queen captures, now queen to e2, and after queen back to b7, getting off of that rook's d file, rook to e3. We have pawn to d5, queen to h5, and again, Tal manages to win a game due to control of this diagonal. Knight captures and rook captures on e6 are coming, so the opponent played king to f8, and still Tal played rook captures on e6, and here his opponent Johansson resigned the game, because once you capture, knight captures on e6 check, it doesn't matter where the king goes, or rather there's only one square where the king can go, and after rook d3, rook g3 will be made. You can play a couple of more useless moves, but all in all, you will win the game easily. So that is what Tal already had. Other people had it as well. So here we have this pawn to h6 move, which today is a perfectly fine idea. Bishop captures, we have knight captures on f6, and queen to e2. Tal moves the queen to castle queenside, pawn to e6, and now again there is a game Tal played this against Mikhail Tuđman in Tbilisi in 1956, so definitely some years prior to this game, and he played pawn to a3. But here Tal just castles queenside. We have queen to c7 and now pawn to f4. Now there are many positions where we could say that it was a completely new game because, for example, these positions don't exist in the database that I'm using. But Alexander Koblenz mentions that it has been played many times. So some of those games have not reached modern databases. But okay, we can say that now as of f4 we have a completely new game, and also something like maybe bishop to b3, bishop to d7, and then f4 can be played. But then black gets the castle queenside and there is no attack. It's a perfectly normal game. White is always a little bit better, just rook d3, rook h to d1, but you still have to play, a very long game. With this pawn to f4 move right away, without playing this bishop to b3, as you have a queen on e2 defending the bishop, there's no need to do it. So now black has to decide how to continue, and black is already in a very bad position. Just to give you an example, let's say, okay, you want to reinforce the e5 square. Let's say we play knight d7. It's a perfectly reasonable idea, and then you just continue development. But all of a sudden, bishop captures on e6, and after f captures and knight captures, it's a very not a difficult one, a losing position for black. You have to stop queen h5. So let's say queen a5 to stop that, but all of a sudden rook to d5, and after b5 now even rook captures on b5. A beautiful sacrifice that opens up the d5 square for the knight, and there's really not much more you can do this. Queen h5 check, king e7, knight d5 check, king captures, and queen to f5 will be checkmate. So after this f4 move, not a lot you can do. You can go bishop to e7. Again, in the book, Tal and Koblenz analyzed the pawn to e5 after bishop to e7, but they missed a couple of ideas. Of course, they did not analyze this with an engine, but still, even after bishop to e7, White's position is much better. But all in all, to stop pawn to e5, Istvan played pawn to e5 himself, and this simply will not do. Tal could go back with knight to f3 or knight to b3, or he could even go forward with knight to f5, but no, Tal went knight to e6, and again, he wants to sacrifice this knight on e6, which is what happened in the previous game. So, watching these Tal games, just obliterating the Najdorfs with knight to e6 is very instructive. But not just yet. First, he played knight to d5. He attacked the queen, and okay, we have knight captures on d5, e captures on d5, and bishop to e7, and now look at this. F captures on e5, d captures, and now again, Tal could go knight f3, knight b3, but no, he goes knight to e6. This is the way to do it. It would be a bit premature in the position that we've discussed, but how do you react to it? Interestingly, the best way to defend is to capture this knight, but I will show you what black has to do to survive, and it's not, it's not very human going for this. Like captures queen h5 check, king d7, only move that it doesn't lose on the spot for black, and now after d6, you will capture, and let's say rook h to f1, going for rook to f7 check. I mean, it doesn't look like a position you'd want to play, but you can play it. King c6, and now after rook to f7, you will go bishop to e7. It looks disgusting, but it holds. And after queen to f3 check, king to b6, you have to play rook captures on e7 and settle for a perpetual. Queen e3 check, king to c6, queen to e4 check, and we get some sort of a repetition here. It would be a draw. But after knight e6, Bilek said, "Yeah, I'm not touching that." He played queen to d6, just got the queen out of harm's way. And now Tal's position is completely winning. Knight captures on g7 with check, king to f8, and knight back to e6 with check, king to e8, and rook h to f1. And okay, now if you just play f captures on e6, it's even worse. There's a rook on f1. So now d captures opens up the d file, opens up the f file. The queen is also attacked, and queen to h5 will be checkmate. As we've said, playing h6, in the beginning of the game, weakened not only g6, but this entire diagonal, and it works wonders for Tal in pretty much all of the lines. So also one of the problems when playing Tal, you had to calculate, you had to really calculate, you had to defend, you had to be precise, but you would also burn time, and you didn't have half an hour to burn for every line that you had to calculate. So sometimes you just couldn't allow yourself to spend more time to calculate, and you would miss a defense that was f captures on e6 when Tal initially played it. So bishop to g5 with check, king to b1, and pawn to b5. We have queen to h5. Tal offers the bishop on c4, but of course it cannot be captured. We have bishop to f4, blocking the rook's reach to the f7 pawn. Bishop to b3, we have pawn to a5, and now Tal just plays knight to c7 with check. He forks the rook, and you don't have to capture it, but it doesn't really help you if you do or don't. For example, if king f8, even g3, you cannot move the bishop, otherwise you're gonna get checkmated on f7. So it's a pretty disgusting position. Even if queen captures on c7, the guards the pawn you're still gonna capture, and there's still the problem of pawn to d6 opening up the diagonal. This will open up, this will open up. So there's really no defending this. After knight to c7 check. Okay, Istvan captured it, queen captures on c7, and now Tal just played pawn to d6, and he was in this position on move 23 that Istvan Bilek resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. Queen to d7, once you move the queen, rook captures on f4. Opens up the path towards the black king, and after e captures, queen to e5 check, nicely connects. You cannot defend with the queen here or here, the bishop covers e6, and once you move the king, another beautiful check, the king has to go back, or you give up the queen, that will also work. But if king e8, now you capture the rook, only this time it comes with checkmate. So queen captures on h8 would be checkmate, and of course Bilek saw all of this. After pawn to d6, he resigned, and another beautiful attack by Tal against the knight of Sicilian. Beautifully played with this bishop to g5 line. Like I said, I'm gonna give it a try because it the moves are just very natural. Of course, once you start playing it, then your opponent starts countering you, and then you see, okay, it's not so black and white. But yeah, definitely getting inspired by these style games. First time we're covering a game by Istvan Bilek. I'm always very sad when the first game I cover by someone is a loss, but what are you gonna do? It's part of the saga, so I can just skip it. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, or maybe you're from Hungary, maybe you know a nice game by Istvan Bilek, use that hashtag suggestion. I would very much love to show it. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Video number 7 in the How to Attack Like the Magician saga. I would like to thank E1 Check, Only Bullet, Random Pawn, Douglas Van Bethuizen, and Samuel Kamuli for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.